Hi everybody. This is Kaylin Sposey Belknap. I moved to Women's National Director, and I'm here doing our live report, which we do every month, normally on the last Wednesday of the month at 5 o'clock Pacific, right here on Facebook Live and also on Twitter too. Thanks for joining me. We're also on Instagram as well. Just so the Instagram folks know, not all of the features will show up there, so you might want to come join me over on Facebook or Twitter to get the full experience. But otherwise, when the clips are going, I'll smile at you. Let's see. We always give out prizes, so we will be giving out a couple of our Move to Amend T-shirts at the end of the show. And if you'd like to win a T-shirt, you have to be on Facebook or Twitter. Again, sorry, Instagram. And if you share this live feed on Facebook or Twitter with the hashtag Move to Amend, so retweet or share the video itself, and we'll pick 2 lucky winners, 1 for each platform at the end. So make sure you go ahead and do that now and invite your friends to come join you tuning in with me. I'm really excited because we're going to do it a little bit different this time, and going forward we're jazzing it up, and we have some clips to open up each segment of the show. We always do corporate rule news, and then talk about updates from the Move to Amend campaign, and then shout outs for our grassroots volunteers who are doing awesome work in their communities. And then we've added a special thing at the end too. And so we'll have clips this time, just like we're a real program, like a real boy, like Pinocchio. So we're going to start off with the first one, which is corporate rule in the news. We're going to turn to that right now. Oh, does that mean I should go? All right. See, working out the hitches. All right. I thought you were telling me like good, it played, but it's pretty fast. So, all right. First up is we got a bunch of corporate rule news because the world is pretty effed. So, West Virginia inmates are now going to be charged by the minute to read books on tablets. This is a flagrant example of corporate greed. So Alfonso's going to share some links so that you can reference this and spread the word. Global Tel Link, the company that is providing electronic multimedia tablets to 10 West Virginia prisons, is going to charge inmates 3 cents a minute to read books, even though the books all come from Project Gutenberg, which is a free online library. And this is not an isolated case. Back in 2011, JPay, another company, reported a revenue of $30.4 million, an amount that's tripled 3 years later, by charging prisoners for sending emails. And then there are corporations coming out ahead by providing non-fresh, even maggot-infested food to inmates. All this is possible thanks to corporations having personhood rights and then using that to buy more and more ability to sway lawmakers. And if you want to learn more about the story behind the for-profit prison system, check out the story that Alfonso wrote a while back that's on our website. We're going to share the link. So isn't that insane? I mean, part of the whole idea of, one of the few things of elements of humanity that exists in prison is that you can at least read, but no longer can you even do that for free. I can't even. PG&E shutoffs continue. So those of us who are here in California, I live in Sacramento. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. That's where I'm broadcasting from. Have been facing shutoffs over and over again throughout our state. I mean, it's definitely true that we need to make sure that we protect and do everything we can against forest fire, or against, they're not even necessarily forest, but against fires here in California. We finally had our first rain that started yesterday, which is such a blessing. So thank God, and hopefully that means that fire season will come to an end, which goes later and later every year as a result of the climate crisis. And so, though, in order to supposedly protect against these fires, PG&E is shutting off equipment and causing shutoffs for residents in the millions. And the crazy thing about that is, one, they aren't even necessarily shutting off the equipment fully. So there was one instance where there was a fire anyway, even though all residential power was off. They actually hadn't turned off their lines all the way. So there still was a situation that caused a fire. I think that was last month. And then on top of that, the reason why this is necessary is because they haven't been doing upgrades and maintenance on their equipment, and instead have been paying off their executives, massive sums of money instead of doing the work that they're supposed to do to serve and service the people of California. So that's definitely a continuing and ongoing corporate rule story in the news. General Motors cancels the health insurance of striking workers. GM, which made about $8.1 billion in profit and paid its CEO $22 million last year, just canceled health benefits for 50,000 workers as retaliation against strikers, against workers who are striking. Absolutely unfair, and an example of why this country needs universal health care or Medicare for all, so that workers are not up against the wall when it comes to health insurance. And this is certainly a precedent that other companies are going to start to use as well, basically threatening workers so that they won't go on strike when they need to, by cutting their insurance or threatening to cut their insurance. And so if we had Medicare for all and we all had health insurance provided as part of our society, because healthcare should be a human right, then workers would be free to protest and organize in favor of fair, working conditions without that looming over them. And then the last thing that we wanted to just talk about, everybody knows this already, I'm sure. Bloomberg has now gotten into the presidential race. Spent more than $30 million on ads that are going to air that started airing a couple days ago through December 3rd. So that puts him outspending every single other Democratic candidate immediately. So is he basically trying to buy the ticket or the nomination? So we definitely don't need, my script says another out-of-touch billionaire as president of the United States, but Trump isn't actually a billionaire. He would like everyone to think that he is, but he's just a lowly millionaire something. But nonetheless, the point is we absolutely don't need this garbage, and I don't know who Bloomberg thinks he is. And then I just wanted to make sure everybody's heard this because it's just so ridiculous. At a campaign event last week, a woman went up to Joe Biden and told him that she wished that he wasn't taking corporate money. And he said, "You listen to Bernie too much. You should." And then earlier in that same event, he told somebody else that they should vote for Trump because they asked him if he would stop deportations or whether he would plan to deport as much as Obama had. This person was an immigrant rights activist, just asking a question at a campaign event. So, but the bigger relation to move to amend is that when telling him that she wished that he didn't take corporate money, he basically said, "You're listening to Bernie too much." So another out of touch comment from Vice President Joe Biden. Yay. So I just want to remind everyone you're listening to the Move to Amend live report, and we do offer some prizes at the end if you help us spread the word about the show. If you share this live feed on your Facebook with the hashtag Move to Amend, or retweet it, this video with the hashtag Move to Amend to Twitter, we would love to give you the opportunity to win a Move to Amend t-shirt. So at the end, we will announce 2 lucky winners, one for each of those platforms. Sorry to those of you on Instagram. You might want to tune in over on Facebook or Twitter if you'd like to be eligible to win one of those prizes. So next up, I am excited to share with you Move to Amend's campaign updates. All right. So we have some big news. I'm really excited that as we're closing out the year, we are coming out with it's not quite a victory yet, but we're on the like precipice, on the brink of an awesome milestone achieved, which is that we have a Senate lead. So we recently received a call just a few weeks ago from a Senate office that we've been working on for years, and had a conversation with senior counsel at that office. I'm not going to announce it here, but I'm hoping that we will be able to announce who it is soon. But this means that the We the People Amendment is going to be introduced in the Senate in 2020. We're not going to be able to, it's not going to be done before the end of the year because Congress is only in session for 2 more weeks, next week and the week after. So there's not time to pull it off, but we're hoping that we'll be able to announce that new lead soon, and that the amendment will actually be introduced in the Senate, if not in January, by February is our hope. But there's one caveat to all of this. Our lead that we're going to be working with said that they would like to have a coalition of senators join them. So they would like at least 5 other members of the Senate to join as initial co-sponsors. And so they're not going to be ready to introduce the We the People Amendment until we have 5 other co-sponsors to join them. And they want one of those people to sit on the Judiciary Committee. Because that's the committee that is actually going to be necessary to move this amendment forward. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows, and you might be able to deduce who the lead is when I tell you this, but our top targets for that co-sponsor pool are Senator Tammy Baldwin from Wisconsin, Senator Kamala Harris from California, Senator Martin Heinrich from New Mexico, Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon, Senator Patty Murray from Washington, Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont, Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota, John Tester from Montana, Elizabeth Warren from Massachusetts, Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island, Sherrod Brown from Ohio, Dianne Feinstein from California, Mazie Hirono from Hawaii, Brian Schatz from Hawaii, Chris Van Hollen from Maryland, Ron Wyden from Oregon. And then sort of a next tier is Cory Booker from New Jersey, Maria Cantwell from Washington, Tammy Duckworth from Illinois, Dick Durbin from Illinois, Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota, and Jackie Rosen from Nevada. And of those, the folks who sit on judiciary who could meet that need are Whitehouse, Harris, Whitehouse from Rhode Island, Harris from California, Dianne Feinstein from California, Mazie Hirono from Hawaii, Cory Booker from New Jersey, and Dick Durbin from Illinois. So if you live in any of those states that I mentioned, you are super important right now, and we need your help. We need you to, tomorrow is harvest holiday. I don't like calling it Thanksgiving, so I'm not going to. And so not a good day to call, and it's obviously after hours now. But we'll remind you, if you sign up to join, to Move to Amend's motion to amend, and get our updates, which you want to do. If you go to movetoamend.org/join, you can sign up to get on our list, and then you can know about all the breaking news with Move to Amend. Alfonso, if you could share the link to that, sorry to give you a surprise one, that would be great. And that way we will update you. But hoping that if you live in any of those states, again, let me list them because they're important. Wisconsin, California, New Mexico, Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Minnesota, Montana, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Ohio, Hawaii, Maryland, New Jersey, Illinois, or Nevada. Your senators, or at least one of your senators, is one of our top targets, and we need you to call them and ask them to support the We the People Amendment, to co-sponsor the We the People Amendment. And my colleague Keon Bliss, our grassroots director, and I will be in Washington, D.C. next week, leaving on Sunday to head out there to have meetings with all of those offices that I mentioned and ask them to co-sponsor and join our lead to introduce the We the People Amendment in the Senate. Remember that there is another amendment that has been introduced in the Senate already by Tom Udall from New Mexico, but that amendment does not go far enough. All it says is Congress has the authority to regulate campaign spending. So it, in effect, reverses the Citizens United decision, but without getting to the underlying doctrines that made the Citizens United decision possible. The idea that money is speech, and even more insidious, the idea that corporations have constitutional rights. And so the We the People Amendment is the only amendment that addresses both of those two issues fully and guarantees that we will have the foundation upon which we could build and pass laws to protect our elections, to protect the political process, and also to protect local communities and states from corporate rule and corporations passing or going into court when communities pass laws to protect themselves and getting those laws overturned. And so we need the We the People Amendment. So we want to thank our Senate lead. I hope maybe next time I can tell you who that person is, but they are a champion and a leader on other issues that are important and connected to corporate rule as well. And we're very excited to have the opportunity to work with them in 2020, but we need 5 additional senators in order to make it happen. So please help us do that. And speaking of the We the People Amendment, should give you an update in terms of where we are in the House as well. So we'll be doing some additional meetings next week, mostly there for meeting with Senate offices, but Kiana is going to also do some House meetings too. So we're at 65 co-sponsors for the We the People Amendment in the House. Right now is right where we want to be per our strategic plan. 65 was our goal for this year, so that's great. But we actually set a higher bar for ourselves after we met that 65, and so there's only 2 weeks left. I don't know if we can pull it off, but we should try to get as many as possible. We'd like to get to 75 before the end of the year, and there are still two weeks. There are still 2 weeks left for House reps to come on as co-sponsors and join the 65 folks who are already co-sponsors. So thank you and welcome to Tom Milikowski, who became our most recent co-sponsor. He's from the New Jersey 7th Congressional District. So he joined and became a new co-sponsor last month. So that's the updates on the We the People Amendment. Also, I should have said this all along. If you've got questions for me, I'm happy to answer them. Go ahead and text them or chat them in the comments, and Alfonso will let me know if we've got any questions or comments. So if you have any questions about anything I say at any point, feel free to chime in. Want to let you know about a few other campaign updates from Move to Amend. So we have actions coming up on what we're calling J21, January 21st. January 21st, 2020 is the 10-year anniversary of the Citizens United decision. So Move to Amend formed, actually, we came together in the fall of 2009. So this is our 10-year anniversary this year. And we came together in preparation for the Citizens United decision that we expected to come down in 2010, and we expected it to go the way that it did, expanding the rights of corporations and individuals to contribute unlimited money to the political process indirectly through PACs, but then also to basically double down on this idea that corporations have constitutional rights and build on previous cases that had already given corporations constitutional rights and asserted that the First Amendment protects campaign spending and basically equating money as speech. And obviously, therefore, saying that if you don't have money, then you don't actually get to speak in the political process the way that those who do have money do. So that was a case from the 70s. Corporate constitutional rights goes back all the way to the 1800s. And Citizens United was like the latest example, at least at the time. There have been subsequent cases since then. So we were ready to go, and we launched Move to Amend on that date publicly. The Citizens United decision came down, and that was January 21st, 2010. So January 21st, 2020 is the 10-year anniversary, which makes it sound like a positive thing, and obviously it's not. of that case. We've seen what it has done to our political process. We've also seen that corporations have expanded their powers in other ways. You know, the Hobby Lobby decision that came later, that gave them religious freedom, McCutcheon case that expanded the ability for individuals to contribute more money to the political process. So we want to raise a ruckus on that date, and we will be doing sit-ins at congressional offices around the country. And there's still time if you would like to join us and participate in those actions. There may be some folks who get arrested that day because Move to Amend is moving into using the tactic of civil disobedience. Our read of history clearly shows that every single successful social movement, certainly in the history of the United States, but actually um, anywhere and everywhere, has had to employ civil disobedience at the right time to move the agenda forward, to escalate tactics. And we're there. We've had this decision and the ramifications of it for the past 10 years. It has further fixed the system against working class people and regular folks in favor of the wealthy and their corporations, and enough is enough. So it's time for us to escalate. So we are holding planning calls every couple of weeks. So the next one is on December 2nd, next week. And Alfonso will share the link if you'd like to join us. Like I said, there's still time for you to team up with a group of your friends. It doesn't even need to be a large group, and participate in helping us do sit-ins for all the House members who have not yet signed on to the We the People amendment and shown their leadership. So we're basically demanding in 2020 and going forward that everyone in Congress needs to pick a side. They're either with We the People and the We the People amendment, or they're with corporations and corporate rule, and then we will respond accordingly come election time in November. So I hope folks will join our J21 actions and check out the link so that you can join one of the calls. Jessica, our program director, is the person who would work with you. So you also could email her at Jessica@Move to Amend if you want to find out more before joining one of the calls. You're welcome to do that. Also want to let everybody know that that our internship deadline for our spring interns is coming up. It's on November 29th. So what is that? Friday. And our interns can live anywhere in the country. It's a telecommute internship. We pay a monthly stipend to cover the internship costs and supplies. So you have to have a computer, phone, and high-speed internet access. It's about 20 to 35 hours a week, depending on what we've got going on. And interns, we can work with folks who are in school. We can work with folks who are out of school. We can work with folks who are older and not necessarily what you would normally think of as an intern age. We've done that before too. So I want to invite anybody and everybody to check it out. Alfonso will share the link to that as well. Our interns have a really hands-on experience and get to participate in most all the inner workings of our organization and see what it's like to build a grassroots movement for systemic change. And so it's a great experience, and we definitely make sure that interns walk away with tangible skills for organizing and movement building. And then let's see, a couple more things, updates from Move to Amend, corporate rule stories or stories, examples of corporate rule. We're planning to record a series of short videos that will go into more detail about how corporate personhood or corporate constitutional rights and corporate greed affect every single one of us. So if you have an example of corporate rule that you know about or that has happened in your community, large or small, please check out the link that Alfonso is going to share and submit an example to us. And then we're going to pick sort of the ones that are most conducive to making videos about and work on that. That's something that we're going to be doing in 2020. So please help us. Please crowdsource ideas for examples of corporate rule. And if you're not sure, then let us know, and we can help figure out whether it is a good example. And lastly, we had an awesome event. Now it's been a couple weeks. We had our national team, which is all of our board and staff, had an in-person strategy retreat like we have at the end of every year in the Bay Area in California. And we had a great party, which was really fun. So thanks to everybody and shout out to everyone who came. Thanks to all the folks who helped us by supplying auction items for the fundraiser component of the party. And we have put some of those items online so that folks who weren't able to join us in person could also participate. So you still have time to bid on amazing items and support our work to end corporate personhood and pass the We the People Amendment. Alfonso will share the link. You can bid online, maybe holiday gifts, maybe something for yourself. But just know when you bid, you're supporting Move to Amend and the We the People Amendment, and we need your support. So please check it out and share the link as well. Speaking of sharing links, just want to remind everyone that we are giving away a couple t-shirts at the end of the broadcast. So one to Twitter folks who are tuning in and one to Facebook folks who are tuning in. So the way that you can be eligible to win one of the t-shirts is to share the link to this video with the hashtag Move to Amend and invite your friends to come join you in tuning in, and we'll pick 2 lucky winners, one from each platform, to get a free t-shirt that we will mail to you of your size, whatever size you would like. And it has the Move to Amend logo on the front. So please help us spread the word. And also, if you've got any questions for me about Move to Amend at any point in the process, feel free to chat them to us, or I keep on saying that, make a comment. That's what I'm trying to say. Make a comment or tweet at us at Move to Amend, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. I'll do that at the end. So next up, we're going to have our dispatch from the grassroots, where we'll share some highlights from the work that our Move to Amend affiliates on the ground are doing. All right. So big thanks to Los Angeles, California Move to Amend for their persistent work targeting their congressional reps to co-sponsor the We the People Amendment. With more than 22 House members representing over 9 million people, our folks in LA have done a fantastic job in keeping the pressure on 5 or more congressional offices since our National Lobby Day last summer. Even finding time to greet Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, our lead sponsor in the House, during a visit to their city when she was in Santa Monica last month. So special shout out to Michael and Jeffrey for your dedication and tremendous work. And great job to our folks in East Bay, California, Move to Amend, for your consistent solidarity of organized labor in the Berkeley, Oakland, California region. Our East Bay Move to Amend folks have been hard at work meeting with local union reps from the AFL-CIO, which included a recent presentation that our outreach director, Greg Coleridge, did to their labor council. And in addition to these efforts, they've done an awesome job connecting with their House and Senate members, including former presidential candidate Eric Swalwell, who we're trying to get to become a co-sponsor, and he hasn't yet, but they've been bird dogging him and diligent on his heels. And also doing great work doing citizen lobbying of Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris to come on as Senate supporters. So keep up the great work, East Bay, California Move to Amend. So now I would love to open it up to any questions that anyone might have. I'd be happy to answer them. They should be moved to amend in nature, I should say. But let me know if there's anything that you're wondering about, or anything that I said that you would have questions about. And if you've got questions via Instagram, I can see that feed here. So let me know, lay it on me. And Alfonso will let me know if there's any questions. I think, and you'll let me know in the chat, right? Which do I have it open? Can I see it? Oh, that's important. There it is. Oh. Are there any, Alfonso, I'm having trouble seeing the chat in the Google Doc, so I don't know if you want to put them over in Zoom instead. I'm over in Zoom right now. Are there any questions? he's got to go back and forth between Twitter and Facebook. So let's give him a sec. And in the meantime, anyone in Instagram, if you've got any questions, let me know. Happy to, even if it sounds like something that I referenced that you think you already should know, or something I said that was confusing. Am I eating turkey tomorrow? You know what? Actually, tomorrow I am flying to visit my family, so I am not doing the harvest holiday celebration tomorrow, and then that they live in New Mexico, so we're doing that on Friday. And actually, I don't totally know what's on the menu, so I'm not totally sure. I was a vegetarian for a really long time, but I'm not these days for health reasons, so possibly. But if so, it'll be a turkey that hopefully had as comfortable and happy a life while it was alive. And I do see you, Jason, shaking your head because he's a vegan. Yes, I know, the sellout. Well, soy is not a good protein for me, and so there we are. Anybody else have any questions? I will possibly entertain questions like that, although I'd rather answer move to amend related questions. Just so folks know who I'm referencing, Alfonso and Jason are two members of our team. Jason's on our board and Alfonso's on our staff team who help me with this broadcast. So they are doing tech stuff, and that's why I'm just referencing random men's names. No questions? I can see you if you shake your head, Alfonso. Nope, no questions. All right, that's okay. Then fine. All right, well then, what happens next is I wanna, let's see. We haven't done this before. So, okay, I think what happens next is we're going to do our hell yeah moment, which is a moment that we found, something that we found inspiring over the last month. And we want to share it with you. And then I'll come back and announce the winners, and then we'll close out. So next up is your hell yeah moment for Move to Amend.
A protest of some sort and took a seat at the midfield area. And you see that authorities from both the campus and also the city of New Haven were there. And then as it started, both teams eventually went to their respective locker rooms here at the Yale Bowl. Well, when the team started off the field, that just brought more students onto the field. And as that occurred, the students began to gather and gather and gather. And here is a live look at the students that are on the field here at the Yale Bowl. An announcement has been made asking them to clear the playing surface. But as of yet, we are in a delay for the start of the second half of Harvard and Yale.
All right. I went on mute for a minute and told the Instagram people what the heck was going on, because otherwise they're just looking at me smiling and it's weird. But we can't do the same kind of cool stuff to Instagram. So you may want to join us next month via Twitter or Facebook instead, so that you can get the full experience. All right, so our winner on Twitter for a t-shirt is Foxhead Raven. Congratulations. And Twitter, Foxhead Raven, and on Facebook, Amy Hums. So what you want to do if you are one of those two folks is send us a direct message through the platform. Let us know what size t-shirt you would like and your address, and we will send it out next week. Congratulations, and thanks to everybody who helped share the broadcast. So then just the last thing here, if there are any other questions, you can shoot them at me real quick, but we will be here next month on December 18th, which is not the last Wednesday of the month, but because of the holidays, we're going to do it a week early. So I hope you'll tune in and join me. I'll be able to give you a recap for the year, share what happened in our visit to Washington, D.C. next week. I'm excited because it turns out that Extinction Rebellion is doing an action on Friday. So Keon and I are going to support them in solidarity. Obviously, the climate collapse affects us all and has all kinds of corporate rule connections. I saw a couple stories that just came out recently about how not just fossil fuel corporations, but also coal corporations have known about climate, the impacts of climate on the climate of their industries for going on like 40 years now, and have actively been hiding that from the public and our leaders, or colluding with our leadership to make sure that it was hidden from the public. And so I think Keon and I will be at the action that Extinction Rebellion is doing at the World Bank on Friday. So if you're in the DC area, you should come on out and check out Extinction Rebellion DC for details about that. And of course, we'll be meeting, like I said, with a number of Senate offices. So we'll let you know, we'll give you an update on where we are with getting the amendment introduced in the Senate in 2020, and whether we've picked up any new co-sponsors, and then plans for 2020 as well. So I hope you'll tune in and just put this on your calendar on the last Wednesday, except for next month, of every month at 5 o'clock Pacific. So I want to thank Alfonso and Jason for helping me with this broadcast, as always. And we're going to call it a night. And shout out to all of our staff team, and you'll get to see little cameos from them, or of them, in our closing credits here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next month on December 18th. Have a good harvest holiday. And in the meantime, please support Move to Amend. You can find us at movetoamend.org. We'd love you to become a supporter, a monthly donor, a volunteer, join up with one of our local groups. And if you have any questions or comments, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. Otherwise, I'll see you on December 18th. Have a great night, everybody. Bye.
Corporations are not people too. Money is not speech. Man, in fact, it's the root of all. Right now, we have the right to be free. Corporations are not people too. Money is not speech. Man, in fact, it's the root of all. Right now, stand up and defend your democracy.
Have you recently read the Constitution? There seems to be some type of confusion. I thought it said the people were the institution and not the corporations that simply want to use them. The truth is currently a fusion of corporate loot and our government that is outright abusive. People need change. The state, it refuses. They're saying we're mistaken. Well, show us where the proof is. They control the media, movies, and the music, and determine where supplies of the water and food live. We need a strategy. Here is a solution. Build a movement to give our rulers improvements.